This
sides in
conference
case
will now be recorded.
you guys have some opinions. Let me see, what are these games going off right now? Detroit, Texas. You know we're on the under. In fact, this room's the only group that got the under because I wasn't going to send it out knowing that at least half the outs that regular subscribers have are going to be showing 8.5. And with 9 being such a key number, I wasn't going to release that. Again, it was only a 3% play, but at 9 juice to minus 120, I was comfortable with that. I would have liked a little better vig or even paying that 120, 125 to get the 9 and the hook. But when it wasn't available, we back up, and that's no problem. We put a small 3% play at minus 120 where we find it. Where it's not available, we move on to the next thing. Also, in that same game, Texas is the sharp side. I personally did not confirm that as a move for myself. I get a ton of information each and every day from multiple sources of information in multiple markets. And as you know, I put to the side my strongest leans, and when they confirm, we fire, except for those sports I don't handicap, in which we piggyback those sources that I am most confident that we will profit long term. So real quickly, Texas in the under, coupled with Cleveland is also the sharp side there. Again, Texas, Cleveland, both chalky sides, getting the public money as well. I just don't really see the value in these prices. They're both about that $1.50 range where you've got to win, 6 out of 10 times just to break even. I think it's right around that number. I don't think there's much EV to be gained. And if anything, you've seen that line drop on the Texas side, and I think that's why you saw some of that later Texas money come in from some sharper bettors, at least that I see. And as far as Cleveland, again, one-sided, seems like the public and a couple of sharps on there, but the sharps that I saw the accounts get down, they got down at minus 120, not at my, excuse me, at I'll look right now for you guys. Yeah, they got down at like minus 138 and minus 139. Again, not too much difference from here. It shows you didn't get all that much respect. Again, I didn't like it. Nothing that I would confirm to bet. But again, in case you have any leans there, real quickly, let me cover the baseball leans for today. This is what we're looking at. Again, so far we only got down one bet. That was early, a small play, and we're going to remain very selective. Only my strongest trades. I can't stress that enough. I'm not here for action. I'm here to make money. And everyone in this room is just here to make money. I'm not here to sell you anything. That's why there's not a package for sale, even though I'm on an 11-0 run. Like, I could put one play up today and call it a 5% play, and it would sell probably 500 of them before this chat was over with. But why? Like, why? The guy that's going to buy that is going to be that bettor that needs to win today. And that's not what we're doing here. So enough about that. Let me go real quickly. These are the sides I'm looking at as sharp for baseball. Haven't bet anything, still working on them. We have time, information comes in. The sharp sides are Arizona, the Dodgers, which again, a little chalky, Phillies and the over, and you have Texas and the under. And real quickly, I have a prop bet that I would release, but the juice is it moved on me, and I knew it would move on you, and it's just not fair to do it. Like, even if it wins, yeah, I'll get credit for it in my overall results, but if the people in this room can't replicate my results, then it's bullshit. What I'm ultimately doing is bullshit, and that's not going to happen. And it's Ohtani over 1.5 bases tonight. We laid minus 0.5 all the way up to minus 125 on Ohtani over 1.5 bases. Real quickly, I'm just looking at my phone. Give me a second, because we are at a time where things are going on. As you can see, I'm day trade and swing trading over on this computer. There's sports coming in here, and we're doing the chat. And you're going to have to excuse me and have some patience, especially when football comes along, because there'll be information. There may even be other people in this room. It'll be a busy time. Just let me reply here. Confirmed. Okay. I will be doing, and if you want to see a breakdown of the entire UFC card for Saturday, I will be jumping on with our guy Clint tomorrow morning, I think at like 11:30 Pacific time, and running through the card and sharing what information I have. So we got today's baseball out of the way. Again, Thursdays is always the slowest time. There's a couple day games, a few night games. We're not betting for action. We're betting for profit. Like we always do, first things first, and make sure, take your time, put your questions, because that's what this is here. We're not going to waste hours and hours when there's not actionable info for me to share, trades for me to share, and maybe a concept that I really want to dig into. Other than that, it's going to be a reminder of all the things we need to continue doing, coupled with answering your questions. So first and foremost, like I always do, and I wait until we do the chat, is we rewind. Bottom line, how are we doing as of late, and more importantly for the year? So let's look the shortest time frame over the last 3 days. I am plus 34 units, 100% ROI. That is beautifully to market. If you're a tout and selling daily picks, you can make a ton of money off that record. As someone like myself, whose only goal is to win year over year, build my capital so I could invest in other ventures and build wealth to enjoy my life, the only thing that tells me is I can't sustain it. Like, I know over 10 days, it's not going to stay at 100%. I don't mean to disappoint you, but you need to know that going in. It's a great run, and we're going to try to sustain it as long as possible. But this is me just preparing you for the realities of sports betting. Let's go over the last 7 days. Now, remember, last Saturday was awful in the UFC. Lost that big 5% play on what I would like to call a bad beat. But like I always have said, bad beats, winning bets that you get lucky on, those tend to balance out when you bet long-term like we do and you bet volume. But when you're winning better, you tend to remember the losses more than anything else. With that said, even with the ugliness of Saturday and it not being a good week, over the last 7 days since we last met, I'm down 1.1 units. That's it. 1.1 units over the last 7 days with that debacle on Saturday and a 5% play that was juiced, that lost. Now let's look over the last 30, over the last month, and we are plus 43 units, about 5% ROI, which is beautiful. That's sustainable. I can do that over and over and over again, long term. Now, it won't be every month. Some months it'll be higher, some months a little lower. But a 5% ROI, like I've said since 5-6 years ago in the very first few videos, and I repeat it here, that I can maintain. We can make a ton of money off that. But here's the key, because now we got to go to what matters most. What are we for the year? And we are at plus 238.61 units for, once again, right around a 5%, 4.5% ROI. Exactly what we should be doing and able to maintain. More importantly, that puts us down only a little bit from our top mark, our highest that we were at, which was 254, 253. And that's the consolidation that needs to happen if you're going to take another step up, if you're not doing it on blind luck. Now, hear me out, because this is very important. The biggest takeaway is that over the last month, we lost 3 5% plays. Remember, it was 2 of them that really stung. We had over 8.5 runs, and we had 8 runs scored in the 3rd inning. We didn't get another run through 4th through 9th and lost that one. We had the over 5.5 goals. It was 3-2 going into the 3rd period, I believe, and a critical game, pulling the goalie. But nope, we didn't get the over 5.5. No extra goal. And then Saturday night with Emmers, we have a 5% play. When the fight is over, the live betting line was between minus 1,700 and minus 2,000. So if you wanted to bet that, they were more or less telling you, the sports books, we don't want your action, because a minus 2,000 is a 95.2%, 95 plus % implied win probability. So they believed Emmers won 95% of the time. He should have won that fight. He didn't. That's defiant probability. Now, we could argue, was it closer than that? What was the box score? Blah, blah, blah. That's all nonsense and irrelevant. What matters most is that how we lost those 3 5% plays. And when you add the juice with them, that's 15 units that we didn't win, plus 17, 18 that we lost, that we laid with the juice. So that's over a 30 unit swing in those 3 bets. 30 unit swing. Now, if you're actually betting the percentages that are sent out, and I tell you, you can't do that or you will go broke, you have to bet a quarter of the percentage to sustain negative fluctuation. It would be almost impossible to come back. Meaning, if you lose 30% of your bankroll, 50 and didn't have a good week, and that happens in a 30-day period. Let's say you lose 30%, and plus with the other stuff, you're down 50% in 1 month. To recover that now, you have to win 100% back. Like winning 50% back will just get you halfway there. You now got to win 100% to recover, just to recover those losses, not to be ahead. That's why risk management is everything. I can't help you if you don't employ it. That's the one part I can't control. I can control the plays I give you, the rating that I assign to them, and make sure when the dust settles, the results are profitable, so that if you manage risk correctly, you made free money betting sports, something 99% of bettors won't do. But here's another perfect example where if you bet 5% on the 5% play and you lost those 3, I can't help you. Like, yes, you're pissed that I'm bragging about being up because you lost money, but that's not on me. Like, everyone in this room, we're here because we take accountability. And if you fucked up, that's okay. You just can't keep repeating the pattern. Like, make that the last time it happens to you. Correct, don't repeat. Write it on a Post-it. Stick it in front of you. Correct, don't repeat. Mistakes are okay, but we correct them. We don't repeat them. Fools repeat. And I've been a fool for a long time in many different things where I repeated the same mistakes. Eventually, thank God, in most cases I learned. But like I've touched on in the past, one of the hardest things is admitting your thesis is wrong. But once you do, there's a freedom in that, in knowing good. Now I want to learn the right way. Okay, I made a mistake. Fuck it. Cover up that hole where it is, forget about it, and start over. Start the right way. You can't, like, the good thing is you can't unlearn. Once you learn, you can't unlearn it. Like where you are today, a year from now, you'll know so much more by coming in here. 2 years from now, you'll be even more sharper. All that experience, everything you learn cannot be unlearned, but you have to apply it. You have to employ it. It's meaningless to have the knowledge if you can't actually put it to use. I'm arming you with things that took me a lot of money to learn. To understand that I can't bet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% cost me a lot of money to learn to do that. To tell you to use only 1/4%, that's the formula. I had to go lose all kind of money to come down to a number that I could actually grow my capital to where it's a viable investment and it's going to make me money, and also actually keep the business open long enough to profit from it. And that took a long time to come up with, betting only 1/4, 0.25 to 1.25. And since then, I've never looked back. I've just continued to increase my bankroll, take my capital and invest it in other things. And I want you to do the exact same. And last time around, I'm terrible with names, so please, please, please forgive me. It may be Mario. There was a gentleman in the room who was up nicely for the year already. And as long as he bumped it up by only 10%, because he was up so much, and continued doing the same, he's fine. 1 week isn't going to hurt him. 1 month isn't going to make or break him. But when you mismanage your money, again, there is absolutely nothing I could do. There's nothing anyone can do. So number one, we have to practice that money management. And I'm going to repeat it again. By design, we bet, I rate from 1% to 5%. That's 1x to 5x. Because I found out with a small edge, you need to be able to do that. How did I learn that? By working with some of the best card counters on the planet. And I came to understand, to beat double deck and make it worth my while, I had to be able to bet between 1x and 10x because the edge was small. It was about 1.5%, 2%. Fortunately, our edge in sports is a little greater if we're selective. It can be. And because of that, we could go a little more. But we're still right there at that quarter of, we're not going 1x to 10x, we're going 1x to 5x, which is more than enough to make a lot of money, but we're not betting 1% and 5% of our bankroll on our biggest. We're going 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, 1.25. Again, if you have a $10,000 bankroll, on a 0.25%, you're betting $25 flat on a dog or betting to win $25 on a favorite. On a 2% play, you're betting 50. On a 3% play, it's 75. On a 4% play, it's 100. And on a 5% play, it's 125. You'll never bet more than $125 with your 10 dime bankroll. Next year, when it's 20 dimes, because if you followed so far this year, you've increased your bankroll by about 50%. We still haven't got into the best 6 months. So let's say we do what we did the past 6 months and you end up doubling. Well, now next year, your 5% play is 250. It's no longer 125. You're now betting 250. You've doubled the amount you're betting just by having the patience to bet correctly for 1 year. It's like I explained with like losing weight, man. People want to take Ozempic. People want to shop. People want to take a pill because they want it to happen in a day, in a week, in a month, without even taking the time to see, are there side effects? What's the long-term results of this? What's the investment actually going to end up costing me? Instead, all they see is at the end, I'm going to lose weight, and it's going to happen quickly. And it's the same thing with betting. You see guys even that have the ability to win, and they just don't have the patience to get there because they're like, damn, I got a 10 dime bankroll. This guy wants me to bet $125 max. Brother, your problem isn't what I'm telling you to bet. Your issue is your bankroll size. That's the part of the equation you need to fix. So go out there, drive Uber when you're off a couple hours, get a job, side hustle, do whatever you can to build your capital so that 1% of that bankroll is a bigger bet. But you can't change this side of the equation. The 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1.0, 1.25, that cost me a lot of money. I learned it from the market. You're learning it from me. You're avoiding all those losses if you simply trust that this is the money management approach that will maximize your profits and minimize your losses. That is my goal, is for you not to lose money. Making money is the easy part. We can do that. But if you lose money, then I can't help you. And losing money would be betting 5% of your bankroll on Emmers last Saturday and 5% on the 5% that we've lost over the last 6 weeks or so. That would be 30+% of your bankroll. I can't help you if you lost 30+% of your bankroll on 3 bets. nobody can help you. You need good luck. And if you're banking on good luck, at least play the lottery. So if God does grant that to you, you make a big score. You're not doing it on one game. Like, at least do it on a megabucks machine if you're trying to get lucky. We're not trying to get lucky, dude. We have winning information. We have solid, the best sources on the fucking planet. We have a documented results of 5+ years, 8 years elsewhere. And all we have to do is follow this formula, not get too high, not get too low, and we're good. Like I said, you have me at my most motivated, where all I do is, my only goal is to make this a success. This project, this room. So December 31st, we're up this. And next year we do that. And the following year and the following year. And I don't know how long I'm going to do it. But I promise you, when I retire, we'll be able to look back and say, that room, this is what we fucking did. And I'm telling you now, this is, again, not an infomercial, but you need to understand. I'm on an 11-0 fucking run over 3 days. In pick sales, that is, you can't ask for anything more than that. I should be selling packages out the ass, daily packages, big 5% plays, okay? That's not what we're here to do. Like, if you can't see that and acknowledge that I'm trying to do right by you, so please do right by me, and trust that if I'm sharing something, it's factual. If it's opinion, I'm going to tell you. You want to know what I think about trans athletes? Fucking ask me. That's an opinion. But you want to know about bet sizing? This is factual. That if you don't bet size correctly, I can't help you. So we've gone over the last 3 days, last 7 days, last 30 days, and more importantly, where we are this year. And you already know over the entirety where we're sitting. So that is number one out of the way. Next up, because I keep seeing a lot of questions, even guys hit me up on Twitter. I just don't have time to reply. Take this advice to heart, okay? Stop comparing yourself to anyone else. Your only comparison needs to be to yourself, against yourself. Compare yourself to where you were a year ago. Compare yourself to 5 years ago. A year from now, compare yourself to today. If you've improved, you're in the right direction. Don't compare yourself to what I'm doing. I've been in this racket 30 years. My bankroll is not going to be your bankroll. My risk my risk tolerance won't be yours. Like, some of you guys are new to this. You don't compare yourself to someone that's been doing it a long time, someone whose financial situation is different, someone whose personal situation. Everyone's fucking different is what I'm trying to say. What you need to continue to do is compare yourself to yourself. From last 6 months, from last year, from 2 years ago, am I progressing? And like with your bankroll, or am I doing the same things I did last year? Am I, in the end of the day, am I my worst enemy, losing it to the bookie because those demons are costing me? I'm over betting, I'm revenge betting, all those things. I will continue to remind you by design every single time we're in this chat, because those are the most important. Once you learn how to win and or have access to winning information, then it's all about managing those inner demons. So another question I'm getting is, why don't we bet earlier in the day? Great question. You'll notice there's some plays I send out even days in advance, weeks in advance. Most day-to-day stuff, when we're betting day-to-day sports, NBA, Major League Baseball, college basketball, you're not going to see much overnights or early action. I've moved steam long enough. I've been a mover long enough to understand where the biggest edges lie. And with the limits where they are overnight, yes, you get some good numbers, but the capital you could get down offsets the edge to where the profit is minimal. And a lot of manipulation happens because of that. So I'm not out to guess or even beat a line move. That's not my main goal. That ends up happening by the design, by the way we bet. But that isn't the only goal. Sure, I'm trying to read the market and determine which way it's going to move. But what I'm saying is, I'm not just going to place a bet on Monday night because I know this is 9.5 and I know it's going to go to 8.5. Not with this room, because we're not scalping. I'm not setting you guys up for middles and scalps and day trades. I'm setting you up to swing trade. I'm setting you up for the best moves, the big plays, the stuff where we wait, we make solid trades. Like I said, 1% of your bankroll is a solid trade. That's a 4% play. I don't take them lightly. So it's worth it to me to wait for confirmation. Now, sometimes that's going to cost me, and it's going to cost all of us. And today was a perfect example of that. And I know a good friend of mine will not mind me sharing this. Yeah, a lot of you guys in this room know Andrew Gambis, MMA genius, originator. Good, great friend, great guy. Make a long story short, you guys know I do with the UFC. I have the 2 shows on Fight Pass. Make a long story short, we have a production meeting today for UFC 290 because of Fight Week coming up next week and the 4th of July weekend. We have to knock it out early, okay? And like we do for our bet 'em, we get $1,000 bet 'em and our plays. So anyway, looking at the card, I look at the 290 card because today's our production meeting, and I circle my strongest plays, okay? Best bet, allocate the most percentage of my bankroll on Sean Brady. Because I just thought, again, I thought maybe I'm a little biased, but I thought the Magdalena shouldn't be this heavily favored over him, especially when you look at strength of schedule. And I'm a big strength of schedule guy. Make a long story short, what happens this morning? Yours truly, Andrew Gambis, hits me up and says, dude, I absolutely love a play on UFC 290. And I'm ready to fire. So, okay, brother, well, give it to me. Don't be shy. And what does he send me? He sends me Sean Brady plus 150. I kid you not. Sean Brady plus 150. Now, I hadn't bet it yet. I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of times I will. But I thought I may be a little biased, and I have 2 weeks to wait for confirmation. And if it's a plus 150, when I looked up, and I could still get good plus money, I'm buying, especially when I thought in my mind, it's probably implied win probability, the gentleman should be favored. So any plus money, I'm good. The EV will shrink a little bit, but I'm not greedy. So anyway, since I haven't bet it yet, I'm not going to release the subscribers. That's not fair. My sources know that I would never do that to them. Like, there's a line you have to have in this industry. And the reason good, solid people work with me is because they know that. Sure, our plays are going to align sometimes. Even a lot of times, like, sharp guys just think alike. They look at a lot of the same shit. And more importantly, I follow a lot of line. I don't make a lie of it. I'm one of the guys that likes to trade off a price action. So I'm going to see movement, and I may not get the first number or even the second number, but I'll sure as hell get the third number if I know it's good. There'll be a 5th, 6th, and 7th number and continue moving. So anyway, now if you look up, I don't think you could barely get plus money on Brady. Now, I can't send that to subscribers as a big play, and I hope Andrew's guys got down. He deserves it. I mean, he capped it, put all this work into it, and one of his bigger bets this year. Now, regardless whether wins or loss, the guy did his job. Like, anyone that pays him for a subscription needs to be like, dude, okay, like, regardless of results, you know what you just paid for, okay? Someone's going to give you a plus 150, and within an hour, it's at a pick 'em in this kind of market, 2 weeks out. Rest assured, you're getting your money's worth. And again, this isn't an infomercial for my guy. I just keep it real because there's so much shit out there. 99% of bettors lose, and the content comes, unfortunately, from the 99%. But there is that 1% that puts out content, fortunately. And Andrew just happens to be one of them. But that's where a situation where me waiting for confirmation ends up burning me. Now, it sucks because you guys miss out on probably definitely a great bet at a great number. And now it's like, got to dig in and see, is it worth even, a bet still, or hopefully the public comes in, or even some scalpers come in and move it back the other way, and more people could get involved. But it just goes to show you how quickly value could be gone in a trade, and that a great trade 1 hour ago could become a terrible trade. And you need to start determining that. That's where your expertise, you need to hone your skills. So when I send out a play, you're already starting to recognize, what line am I willing to take? What am I, like if I send you Dallas Cowboys -6.5, you should already have in your head, what am I willing to lay with Dallas? What is the worst number I'm going to lay? And some of you may already have concluded, you know what, I'll lay 7. I'll lay 7 up to -110. I know 7's a key number. Okay, if it lands on 7, ace wins and I push. No harm, no foul. I don't lose. You know, some other ones may be like, no, you know what, if I don't get 6.5, I'm not betting it anywhere. That's what you need to get into the habit of doing, of learning how to trade, learning how to set up your sports books, how to shop which lines. You'll start to notice which ones to bet the totals in, which ones to bet the sides in. That's the stuff you need to be learning. That's the stuff that will come to you with experience. Again, I can't teach you that. I could give you, share experiences with you, share knowledge with you, but you're going to have to put it into practice and action. And that only comes with time. Like you can't buy experience is what I'm trying to explain. Meaning there's nothing I can do to give you that. You have to put that time in. And once you do, the good thing is no one could ever take it away from you. And that's, again, like learning. You can't unlearn something. So your experience will continue to grow. You're not going to be where you were, you know, a year from now, where you are today. Trust me, especially if you're not shy to ask questions and stuff like that. So that's why I'm not betting earlier on day-to-day stuff, because I know, first of all, it's very volatile. I'm willing to wait for confirmations of more information, because the night before, a lot of times you don't have all the data on how far the relief pitching went. A lot of teams are still playing. You don't even know a lot of the card yet. They haven't even turned it in. The starting, you know, they could be moving players around. Like there's so much. The weather, there's so much that happens leading into the game. That's why the closing line is always the sharpest and most accurate reflection we have of true implied win. At least the most information possible is factored into the line. Doesn't make it perfect, but it's the closest we have. So yeah, that's why we're not betting against the close, obviously, on all our stuff. You're going to get crushed doing that, but I'm also not necessarily setting you guys up for scalps. So we don't need to be getting ahead with a bunch of overnights and stuff like that. I'd rather get some confirmation, find some bigger edges, and then get down. Also, you're going to start seeing, especially a good thing I remember this, and also I have a football to share with you. And I need to share this because football's coming. Something I'm going to do for this room that you can't do for subscribers. You're going to start seeing a lot of DCAing with betting. And what I mean is dollar cost averaging. And here's how that works. And because football lines come out the week prior, year prior, months prior, but we'll be betting a week prior most of the times, days prior at that. What happens is a play will sometimes become stronger. It's almost like I do with trading. I don't take my full position ever, not even on swing trades. I know some guys that do 10% blocks and that's it. I don't. I always level in because I always approach a trade with the mindset it's going to go against me. I'm always prepared for the trade to go against me. So if it goes against me, what am I going to do? What's my next level that I could buy at? Maybe bring my cost average down and still make this a winning trade if I'm right, because there's a lot of variance. Things don't go right to that point and bounce. A lot of times it'll pierce your support and resistance lines. Doesn't mean you're wrong at all. But so what I'll do is I'll layer in, I'll layer in, and I'll layer in, and you end up getting an average. And how that works at football is this. Let's say we want to go under a game and it opens at 52. I'm comfortable. I think there's enough value. The total should be about 49. So the first, but again, it's early in the week, information comes in, weather changes, injuries, especially with football. So what you may see is this: a 3% play come out on Wednesday, under 52. Now, Friday, you may see 1% added, under 51, for another 1%. Now, by Sunday, you may see it at 50. I may come again, under 50 for 1%. Now, if you dollar cost average that all together, sure, we don't have the whole 5% at under 53, but we also don't have it all at under 50. We have it spread out. So where your average number may be 52, 51 and a half, 52.3. That's how you end up getting a lot more value and placing bigger bets when you're right, and sometimes saving yourself money when you're wrong, by layering in. I've done that for myself with a lot of success, and you've seen I've done that with you guys a handful of times. 1% added, 1% added, 1% added. I want to do more of that. You can't do that with daily guys. You can't do that with daily packages. You can't, and even that pisses people off. Guy that buys a daily package, he wants 3 picks, he wants to bet them and go do what he's going to do, and he wants you to go 3-0 for him. We know that. You guys is different. You're here for one goal only: make money off your capital long term. So in that instance, I'm going to send it out, and we're going to increase by dollar cost averaging. We're going to do it on sides, we're going to do it on totals, and we're really going to do it on money lines as well, for sure. Now, some are asking about the volume. Again, that's some days we're going to have low volume, some days we're going to have high volume. It's what the market gives us. I don't try to take any more than what it gives us. Like yesterday, you don't think I wanted to bet more? I'm feeling good. We have the wind at our backs. Of course you want to bet more, but I'd be forcing, and I'm so glad. I always make sure I go and look the next day. A lot of those I passed on. Ended up being like losers. So again, it's probably long term that balances out, and that's bias. What I'm saying is I don't regret being selective. And if you need action, your money's your money. Everyone's grown. You're free to bet how you see fit. If you see value that I don't, have at it. And if you're winning, dude, do what you do. I'm not telling you not to. What I'm telling you is I'm never going to force anything. And if I'm going to have to tell you to pass on Monday Night Football and that pisses you off, I'm sorry. Because I know someone in this room is going to respect that. And like I said, if it's just one person, but his and my goals are both aligned, and that's to be profitable, then I'm cool with it. All right. Let me see some questions before we move on. Okay. A gentleman asked, I've been tracking really carefully, but it looks at a glance like we win more outright bets than we do over-under bets. And he asked, are over-under bets more risky than outright wins, or has he just looked at an odd sample of data? I will say this. I personally, as a bettor who's done this as long as I have, if someone asked me where do I think there's the opportunity to find a greater edge on sides or totals, I would 100% say totals instantly. It wouldn't even matter the sport. I'd say totals immediately. And I think the fact that the limits are a lot lower supports that. Now, some will say, well, wait, the limits are lower because there's not as much liquidity in it. meaning there's not as much public, don't bet as much totals, so it's mostly sharp money, and it's a less liquid market. That's why. No. Nothing could be further from the truth. Rest assured, if books had the confidence that totals would lack the volatility that they do, rest assured, their limits would be higher. But it's the volatility in the totals that make them so vulnerable to getting destroyed. Especially like a sport like baseball, where every run matters. They get belted on a total and go from a 9.5 to an 8.5. The probabilities of the game landing 9 are really high. Like middling themselves becomes very easy. So I really, now again, it could be the sport, it could be how I'm running, but I really would credit that more to sample size than anything else. Where I think if we took a sample size, let me see here, it says winning percentage of 51, 53, and 4. See, that's 110 bets. Yeah, please keep tracking. It'll help me. But until you get into 500 plus bets, there's not too much statistical significance. We fire volume, and over any small sample, you're going to see some skewed results. Be careful drawing conclusions, but with all that said, use your analytics as you see fit. Meaning, my goal for you is to profit more than me. I hope your results reflect mine, but I'd be killing it if your results are better than mine, because then it means you narrowed down some losers and left them off your sheet. You found a couple more winners and let them ride. Like you are doing better is a good thing. I want that for you. So if you start seeing some trends that you're confident are legit, take advantage of it. Please do. They're smart guys. You're not in here by accident. You're the guys that stop falling for the bullshit of finding the hot guy, of realizing that a guy that's telling you 7-1 and selling you that big play, great. Tell me how you're doing this year, bro. Tell me how you're doing the last couple of years. Tell me how you're doing. Give me fucking 6 months. At least give me that. So at least you guys see through that stuff. You're smart enough to do that. You're sharp enough to start seeing legit patterns and take advantage of those. Because again, I'm doing so much. I'm just hoping when all the dust settles, it's profitable for me, and it's done that over and over again, and I'm able to do other ventures like you're seeing over here with my trades and shit. Otherwise, I'd be probably put more time in and finding some of those details also. So please share them when you do. Okay. Yeah, Texas over under. Yeah, 8 under -20. Wow. Okay. For 1 week and won't have internet access all the time. Would it be a good idea to take the whole week off? Yes, James. I would. If you are James, asked the great question. I'm sorry if I shared your name. I won't do that unless you guys are okay with it. He said he's going on a vacay for a week and he's not going to have internet access for the entirety of it. Would it be a good idea to take the whole week off or have access like the days he may have access? Honestly, here's what I would tell him. Take the week off, dude. Enjoy yourself. Don't trade at all. Don't look at scores. Don't look at ESPN. Don't watch any games. Whether you're going with yourself or the people you care and love, enjoy that time with them. This isn't going anywhere. These games are going nowhere. I'm not going to win or lose enough in 1 week or 1 month that should make any difference to you in the course of longevity of your investment career. Like, if you can't take a week off and that's the week where that's going to decide our fate, then you should just unsubscribe. I'm not capable of winning for you is what I'm trying to say. I'm just like everybody else. I'm hot right now and we're upselling. That's just what we'd be doing. That's not the case. What I'm telling you is as you can see, the results are only improving. As you guys are gaining experience and knowledge, I'm doing the same. That's why I love this so much. That's why I love sports betting and trading and investing so much, because I learn something every day. It's on me to learn. I don't learn much with wins. Like, wins just reinforce what you're doing is right. And unfortunately, sometimes it reinforces bad habits. Like, you're right for the wrong reasons, and that could get dangerous when it comes to investing in gambling. So you got to be cautious there. But I'm constantly learning from my losses. Like, that's the goal. That's why I told you last week, and I'll say it all the time. I don't blame the dealer at blackjack. I don't blame the cards. I don't blame the gods, the gambling gods. I don't blame anybody. I don't blame the books. No one. The charts are what they do. The market does what it does. It's on me. I only have myself to blame. I made the wrong call. Now, the only place that differs is a sport like MMA, where everyone could see something one way. The data, the stats, everything. And yet 3 judges call the outcome a different way. Where in football, that's not going to happen. When there's 0-0-0 on the clock, we already know who won the game. That can't change. Like, they can't tell us 3 minutes later, no. Actually, team B won. The final score is the final score. With MMA, it's a little different. You could think you won 30-27 and end up losing a split decision. That's why money management and discipline betting in a sport like that is even more important. Like, you got to have it even more so, because a win there may not even be a win. So you have to develop even more like emotional discipline than anything else, because that's all it comes down to. That's why I urge guys, and I got asked this last week and I forgot to answer it, and someone actually DM'd me, so please let me do that here. He asked, what do I think about paper trading? And for those that don't know what paper trading is, it's like you could sign up at TD Ameritrade and they'll give you $100,000 of fake money that you could trade with. You could sign up, I think, at sports books and do that. I'm sure there's sites that let you place fake bets and to track your action, see how you'll do. Here's what I'll say. It's a good way to track your bets so that you have a trade journal. That's what it's good for. And you see your results and you can't lie to yourself. Because how many of us have started writing our results down when they were good, and when they got bad, we stopped. I mean, I've been there, bro. Trust me. Anything you're going through, I've done. Trust me on that. As far as the sports betting goes, I've gone through it. We've all been there. So this helps with that. That's what paper trading will help do. It'll also help you know that you have what sample you have. You'll be able to know, okay, this is over 500 bets. This is over 1,000 bets. Uh-oh, there's statistical significance. Actually, this is a winning system. Let me see if I could replicate it. Here's where the difference is. That you're not coming out of pocket. There's nothing emotional about it. Like, sure, even like in places where you're doing it for a prize, or you're doing it to be documented and you want to be at the top of the leaderboard. So even if there's something on the line, there really isn't. Like, there's nothing more than a little bit of your ego and pride, but you could just change that. You could change the name. You could sign up again under new alias. Like, there's so much you could do. It's not hurting you at all financially. There's not money coming out of your pocket. And that's the difference between real trading and paper trading. That to lose a big bet and then go in the next day and do the right thing is a lot harder than to lose a paper trade, wake up, go in next day and do the right things. That's where the difference is. And that's also, like I said, that's the only thing I can't give you is that experience. The only thing that's going to give you that is time. Like I could give you the 10 best books on brain surgery, and you could promise me that you read them cover to cover, can recite them cover to cover, all of them. You've done nothing but read them the last 10 years to where you know everything. And I'm not going to let you cut me open. No one's going to let you do that. Like, unless you have the experience doing that, having read it isn't enough. And that's what I compare paper trading to. It's a great start. It's a great start, and especially for handicappers who want to document results. Excellent start. For guys who want to get into this industry and maybe even become pick sellers, great place to start, because at least you have documentation. You got to start there. So it's a great start. The only problem is eventually you're going to have to find out whether you're cut out for this, like if you're built for it for real. And that's only going to come when real money comes out of pocket. So again, James, just real quickly, take the week off, my man. Please take the week off. You will not miss much. If we lose, be happy. You save some losing units. If we win, big deal. It means we're running well. And when you get back, jump right in. There's no downside to enjoying 7 days. Don't even look at our results. They're not going to matter much, bro. Like I said, hopefully we go on a run and pick up 20 units. Who cares? Remember, nothing goes up in a straight line. If you're the real deal, you're going to chop a little bit. You're going to consolidate. You're going to come back down, and then you're going to start going up. I've probably told the story a million times, but we all know how Bernie Madoff got caught and how he should have got caught years prior because one gentleman who happened to get his prospectus on his flight back from New York to Boston, that short of a flight, after reading the prospectus, he said, "This is bullshit. This is mathematically impossible. It's just statistically impossible." The guy knew enough about trading to realize there's no way this guy went like that for 30 straight years, that he never went even dipped a little bit. No consolidations. It's just a straight line up. And the guy said, like, that would be the equivalent of getting hit by lightning like 37 straight days in a fucking row. It's not going to happen. So that's why I'm saying, take your vacation, brother. Enjoy it. Have fun with your family, your friends, yourself, whoever you're going with. And there's good sports betting, 365, day in, day out. Markets, sports aren't going anywhere. So enjoy yourself. Next. Please, okay, yes, Benny, let me elaborate on the quarter of bet size. Yes, we rate 1 to 5% because that's the rating system the site uses to reflect strength in plays. A 1% plays the weakest, a 5% plays the strongest. With that said, betting 5% of your bankroll in a single play is the fastest way to go broke. Regardless of whether you're a winning sports bettor or a losing sports bettor, you will run into negative variance that will wipe you out. That's a fact. It's just a matter of time before it happens. To avoid that, we bet a quarter of those percents of our bankroll. And that's like the Kelly criteria. If you get a second, Google the Kelly criteria. It's the perfect way to bet based on your edge. What happened was card counting groups started employing the Kelly criteria because with card counting, you can tell before the hand's dealt your exact edge. Like I have a 1.8% edge on this play. So based on the Kelly criteria, I should bet 1.8% of my bankroll, let's say, okay? What the card counters found was that betting that way, even with an edge, didn't allow them to survive cold streaks. So even though this card counting group was capable of winning, the fact they bet wrong made it impossible for them to win. It's same with sports. If you bet wrong, regardless of my winning percentage, you will not profit, regardless of anyone's winning percentage. Meaning if someone goes 80%, but you're betting 90% of your bankroll per play, you're going broke. That's just going to happen. Bottom line is this. So what we do is we go a quarter Kelly, a quarter of a percent, a quarter of the rating, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, 1.25. A 1% plays, a 4% play would be what? 1%. 2% play would be 0.5%. So it's 0.25 each 1%. That's all it is. Each 1% you go up, you add 0.25 You times it by your bankroll. But you don't do that every day. You don't do that every week. You don't do that every month. You do that at the beginning based on your bankroll, and you stick to it. Like we said, if it's a $5,000 bankroll, then your biggest bet will ever be 1.25% of $5,000. What does that come out to? Like 62.50? That's going to be your 5% play. That's it. And you're going to be like, wait, 62.50? Yes. And when you double it next year, it'll be 125. And hopefully we're able to do the same. And eventually it gets to 250 to 500. Then you say, you know what? I don't need to bet more. 500's fucking, that's enough for me. Now that extra capital, I could start investing elsewhere, in real estate, in equities, in art, in things that will also grow in value. So those times that maybe I'm having a 6 months of sports betting that isn't profitable for me, that's okay. I'm breaking even, I'm chopping. It's okay. My other investments are bringing me in money. That's my goal for you in this room, to take you from point A to point B, where I was in point A to where I am in point B. Very simple. Very easy to do. You got the tools right here. Again, about learning how to win, how to handicap, you're gonna have to figure that out. Like if you think I'm gonna show you what all the things I look at to determine my picks, I'm sorry. Like no one's gonna do that wins. That's why I told you with books, be careful. I have a whole library of card counting books, and the only things they left out are those key factors that I had to learn to actually be profitable, because they're not going to give up their edge. There's guys that have done that in the past. And again, it doesn't turn out well. That everyone has to come up with their own system, or some never will. And that's when if you want to profit doing it, you betting partner. There's so many betting partnerships. You get Steam, you get accounts, or you have a source of information like you do in this room. And along the way, you learn, you follow, you try to dig into matchups yourself. Like that'll all come from experience. Everyone's approach will be different. But what I'm trying to explain is I don't want to bullshit you and make you think that I'm going to tell you you're going to do these 5 things and you'll never have to do anything else. Just do these 5 things every morning and they'll give you the picks. Either they're there or they're not. That's just not how it happens, because the market continues to evolve. But I can tell you what I trade off. Like I told you, it's my network, it's price action, it's mean reversion. Those are the main, it's analytics. Those are the main factors that matter to me. Everybody's different on how it works for them. And again, luckily we have plenty of sources that do it their own way, and none of them are telling me at all, okay, I've bet 0.2 for 5 on my bankroll, regardless if it's a dog or the favorite. Should I bet to win 25 on the favorite? Yes, that's how I do it. Again, have you been under betting based on the results that we show? Yes. The results that the results reflect favorites betting to win. Like the juice is added in. When I lose a favorite, a minus 150 favorite for 3 units, I lose 4.5 units. I don't lose 3 units at a minus 150. So I get charged for the juice in our results. That's why if you want your results to match mine on favorites, bet to win. That's what those results definitely reflect. So yeah, sure, you've been under betting some of the favorites. If anything, that's what you do want under bet. Don't under bet the dogs, under bet the favorite. Yet people do the opposite. They have more confidence in betting a favorite than betting a dog. When you're betting both, because it's the edge that the side's giving you, not the fact that a favorite's going to cash more times than it's not. If that's the case, we just bet chalk. Just bet the chalk every day. They're going to win more than they're going to lose. That's for damn sure. Okay. You're betting the win or a quarter Kelly size even on big favorites. For example, yesterday's 215. Should we lay enough to win 0.75? That's what I do. Yes. To me, price is irrelevant. I don't care if it's a minus 500. If I'm betting a minus 500, if I have a 4% play on a minus 500, that means I'm betting 1% of my bankroll at minus 500. That I'm not betting smaller because it's minus 500. Because if it was plus 500 and it's a 4% play, I'm doing that exact same thing. It's that, don't let the line scare you. Again, I know when something's chalky, no one wants to lose. You know, you put a 4% play at minus 250, fuck, you lose 10%, even 0.25 of that, you're going to lose 2.5% of your bankroll. That's a lot to lose on one play. I factor that in before I send it out. I promise you. I'm very proud of my long-term results. I don't want to lose those 6-8 units on one play either. So I gave you my word with this room. Last year, those final 2 months was the best thing that ever happened to me for the people that are my supporters, because putting all my time and energy into the seminars and courses that I was doing in trading and being a technician, a charter, had me piggybacking a lot of the sports instead of me also handicapping the sports. And what happened? We were up going into November and lost it in 2 months. I said, that's never going to happen to me again. I'm never going to let, because that's doing a disservice to you guys too. It's almost like karma, like I deserve to lose that money. So now that's why I'm telling you, if you see a minus 200, don't let that be the reason. Again, you don't like it, don't bet. And if you're not comfortable betting chalk, don't bet chalk. What I'm saying is I'm very cautious when I lay those chalky numbers. You see me bet a 5% for minus 200. I would so much rather give a 5% at plus 200. And I have to be so much more confident, believe it or not, on a minus 200, just because the room for error is less. So again, if you don't feel comfortable, everyone's risk tolerance differs, but if you truly are betting the way I've urged, then losing a play like that isn't going to hurt you. Just like Saturday, as much as it sucked, the only people that got crushed are those that mismanaged their funds. The only people, if you mismanage your bet size on Saturday, you got killed. And nothing we could do is going to stop that. Like, even if we won on Saturday, if you continued that on Sunday or Monday, one of those days, that was going to happen. It just happened to happen on Saturday is what I'm saying. That wasn't the day that was the problem. It was the way you bet, if that was the problem. So please, 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 I will keep stressing that. I will bore the shit out of you by design, because I can't help you if you don't bet size correctly. Real quickly, let me get this out of the way so we don't forget, because I am going to be sending out the first second NFL season win total, excuse me, and it will be on the New York Giants. Actually, as soon as I get out of here, I will be sending it out and having it go to regular subscribers as well. I'm willing to go 4%, a 4% play, so that means 1% of the bankroll, and we're looking to go under 8, minus 120. I'd go 125 at the most. Try to get 120, but 125 is okay. If you're putting 5 to win 4 on under 8 on the Giants, it's okay. I was going to make it a 5% play at 8.5, but it was just a little quick on the movement there. And I saw some rogue 8.5s, but most weren't going to get it. So let's go 4%. New York Giants under 8. And real quickly, I'll give you some of the reasonings for it. Obviously, the price was overpriced because they re-signed Jones and Barkley. Okay, that wasn't their problem. The offense wasn't the problem for the Giants. The problem was they finished 29th in DVOA on defense. So signing Barkley and Jones isn't going to help you there, number one. Number two, they're in the NFC East. Now, we know the NFC is weaker this year than the AFC, but the strongest division is the East, where the Giants are in. So that, for them, is not a good thing. And then what else did I have here? Oh, they had one of the league low turnover rates at 7.3. And we all know when it comes to turnovers, especially fumbles, there's a ton of randomness involved, as in unpredictable. They had the benefit of good luck. And to support that, they won 5 more games in 2022 than they did in 2021. That was the product of a ton of good luck, not on a great defense or anything like that. So I feel good going under 8 even on the Giants. Again, 8.5 would have been a bigger bet, but we're good with 8. Worst we're going to do is push. The other steam play that came in, but it's not readily available at a lot of books, so I'm not going to release it as a premium play. But it's the Raiders to win under 2.5 wins in their division. You know, under in the Raiders is a very, very, very strong play as far as steam wise guys go on season win totals. But let me tell you the first numbers got in at. So you're not chasing bad numbers here. When did he send? Where you at? Yeah, Raiders under 7.5. Under 7.5. Up to minus 175 they're willing to take. So it's probably 6.5 right now. No value going under. But if you could find that under 2.5 in division wins, I think it's just a derivative of the under 7.5 since it's no longer there. And also in college football, I've been seeing the same group betting that did this a lot, has done this in other sports. When they narrow down a side that they think is going to win a conference, a division, what they'll do is they'll bet that one like a 2x bet, and then they'll take a flyer on a long shot for one unit of it. So it's almost like 1 unit is a free roll because of the 2 unit bet being so strong, and they do it rarely when a team they believe is so heavily favored to win like in a division, a conference. And I was surprised because usually they're like chalky in the minuses, and this wasn't. And it was Georgia to win the SEC at even money. So anything plus, they're willing to put to double up a bet on Georgia to win the SEC. And rest assured, because again, I've been working with them for a long time, they're going to send out a 1% on 1%, a 1x on like South Carolina, someone like that, a Tennessee, an LSU, someone that's around that 5-8 to 1 range as well. But it'll be double the bet size on Georgia. So make sure you guys do get down. It'll be sent out to you as well. But we are on the under in the New York Giants. Let me see if any actionable information has come in. Okay, nothing to report there. Let's go here. Okay. Yeah, nothing to report. All right, we're good. Let's keep going real quick. Okay, we got that, the quarter out of the way. All right, let me just get some questions, and we're going to have a quicker one this time around. Again, before you know it, football will be here. We'll be betting live, so don't worry about that. Today, the baseball sides we're looking at. As they confirm, I'll send them out. If they don't confirm, we'll move on to the next day. Thank you. James said, I nearly overbet last night because we were winning, but I heard your voice in my head and stopped myself. Thank you. It's exactly what we're here for. And please, remind me. I told you, the only time I lose money now is when I make mistakes. And I still make mistakes. I still get pissed off. This morning, I swear to God, true story. I'm going to share this with you right now. I have a short on KB Homes, okay? Small $5,000 short on KB Homes. I want to add 5,000 short more on KB Homes. So I wanted to buy another 100 shares of KB Homes. I wanted to short another 100 shares. I meant to short 100 shares, and I had my resistance line at $52.60. So I was going to put in my limit order for KB Homes short at $52.60. So if KB Homes, because it was trading around 51, I think 50, if it went up to 52.60, boom, I get another 100 shares short. And that would bring my dollar cost average down in KB Homes. What did I do accidentally at 6:30 in the morning? Instead of selling short, I bought 100 shares of KB Homes, a limit order at 52.60. And since my limit order was at 52.60 and the price at the time of KB Homes was at $51, my limit order triggered. So I now covered my original 100 short in KB Homes, which was at a negative. So I was under, I had lost, was losing money. And my whole point of getting more was to bring my dollar cost average down, thinking, trusting that the trade's going the right way. It's just going to take time. Not chasing, it's going to the next level. And what happened? I'm out of KB Homes because, again, I covered the short, and now I'm trying to buy 200 shares short at 52.60, and it'll probably not get there. I lost money. Like, those mistakes, those are mistakes. The key is to minimize those. And I try every day to do that as much as possible. And with sports, most of our mistakes are going to come from not trusting our reasonable brain and going with our gut, going with our emotional brain, which is like, dude, we're running hot right now. Let's unload. Let's unload. I could bet a little more on this one. Once you do something wrong, you open in that door to continue doing that. Because worst case scenario is you lose it. What, best case scenario is you win? No, because you won doing the wrong thing. So it just means you're going to do the wrong thing again. You can't keep doing the wrong thing and thinking you're just going to continue to luck out. Like, eventually you're going to get burned doing the wrong thing. So the key is to close that fucking door. Don't open it. That's why I told you the 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, 1.25. That should already be figured out. That won't change. Whether I went 0-10 or 10-0 the day before, that doesn't change. So now you're not trading off emotion. You're trading off a signal like you're supposed to be doing. So you did the right thing, man. Good for you. Good for you. And that's going to come from experience. And don't kill yourself when you fuck up. We all do. But correct, don't repeat. Correct, don't repeat. Correct, don't repeat. Keep telling yourself that. I got to correct this. I got to correct this. I can't keep repeating this. And don't give yourself a pass as easily. Be hard on yourself. Be hard on yourself and be accountable. And I promise you, you'll start getting a lot luckier in life. Okay, if I provide a play like yesterday, Texas minus 200 at 3%. What is the profit calculated for that play? Is it 3%, 0.75, or 0.25? Perfect. Great question. So we have a 3% play. We already know that a 3% play is 0.75. So it's a 3% play. We're betting 0.75. Regardless of the play, that's the bet size. We know the bet size now. It's 0.75. Okay, the play's minus 200. So I'm betting 0.75 my bankroll at minus 200. That's how I do it. And that's what the results that we reflect and show and tweet and promote are a reflection of. And that's why I say, have that already figured out. So even if it's a minus 500, you're betting 0.75% on a minus 500. Maybe it's a plus 200. You'd still only do 0.75 because it's a 3% play. So you're flat betting a dog and you're betting to win on a favorite. I'll slow it down a little bit and repeat it one more time. It's very important. Since it was a 3% play, you already knew you're betting 0.75 of your bankroll. You already have figured out what 0.75 of your bankroll is. If it was a $10,000 bankroll, then you know on 3% plays, I bet $75. Okay, this came in at minus 200. 3%, I'm trying to win $75 at minus 200. I got to bet 150 to win that $75. So that's what a 3% play would be on a $10,000 bankroll. You'd be betting 150 bucks. That's pretty much it. And repeat that process over and over and over again. And if you're with me since January 1st, right now you'd be up about 50% on your bankroll, and we still got half the year ahead of us. It really isn't, it's very difficult. I'm not trying to make it like it's easy, but what I'm trying to explain is once you have winning information, then it is easy if you do the right things. Otherwise, that's why most of this chat, except for when we have actionable stuff in football, when the plays start coming in, and we're doing it live, and you guys are asking me on particular games to share information, this is just going to be us remembering the rules, building them in. The same reason a fighter goes to the gym and practices a combination 1,000 times. They don't go to the gym and tell their coach, why are you having me do this again and again and again and again? The reason I'm saying 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, 1.25, because as a fighter, you need to train over and over and over and over again. It needs to become repetition. It needs to become muscle memory. It needs to become automatic. It needs to become where you already know it's a 3% play. Oh, I bet 75 bucks on those. Oh, it's minus 300. Oh shit, I got to put up what's that? $230 plus. Wow, okay. Because I'm betting to win 75. That's okay because your bankroll could afford it if you bet correctly. I will never have you lay out more than the percentages. You'll never come out more than 100%. So you will have the bankroll unless you overbet. Do I find there's more of an edge handicapping since sports betting went legally? Great question. And there's much more public involvement than before. Here's what I found. I've found that there's not really more of an edge. There's just more opportunities. Like each book's trying to get creative, so they're offering more markets. They're offering more propositions. They're offering more opportunities to find value. And there's more dead money in liquid, which means there's more liquidity now in some of those smaller markets. Like they didn't change the NFL market much, the stuff like that. Because again, human nature doesn't change. Patterns repeat. We do the same. So it's just more of the public doing the same thing. It's not going to change much as far as something like that. But what it does change is like with props, where now there's more liquidity. There's less that, like, even though you're seeing significant line movements, 5 years ago, they were so much bigger in props. The limits were even lower and the line moves were even greater because there was less liquidity. And by liquidity, I mean there's less public money in there to create a market for sharp money to be able to come in and balance that book risk, or other way around is usually how it works, where the public comes in and balances the sharp risk in most cases, at least in the smaller stuff. But yeah, and it's been, I'll tell you the truth, the legalization has been mostly negative for myself as a winning bettor. It's just made sports books realize that they could kick out more advantage players. They could take less risk. They can give out worse odds. They could take advantage of their clientele easier now because they have, like I said, more liquidity. Now they have new bettors every day. Every day there's a new kid who just never bet before. Again, people take ignorant as a negative, like it's a bad word when someone calls you ignorant. Dude, that's not a negative. Ignorance just means you lack the knowledge in a particular topic, in a subject. And a 17-year-old kid that hasn't spent the last 10 years of his life looking at betting lines and sports betting is probably not going to know too much about it. Is probably not going to argue if a line's minus 120 when it should be minus 110. And that's what's happening now. It's kind of like with blackjack. Walk into the strip and try to find a blackjack table where blackjack isn't 3-2 and is 3-2. You have to go to high limit. All the regular blackjack tables now are automatic shuffler, or not even, it's not automatic shuffler, excuse me, wrong word, continuous shuffler, which is complete randomness, which means don't even look at the cards, because what they're doing is they're not shuffling at the end. They're sticking them in as the game's playing. And the machine's just continuously shuffling over and over and over again. They have that, and they're paying 6-5 on blackjack instead of 3-2. Why? Because it made it impossible for someone like me to beat that game unless I could bet 1x to 50x. And if I try to bet $10 and then 5,000, rest assured I'm getting kicked the fuck out. So that's why they did it. Because again, if to overcome a 6-5 blackjack, you got to overcome about 2.5% house edge. And to do that, again, I need a 50x spread. Probably with the most elite card counting system, you need a 50 to 100x spread probably. And that's not going to happen. And they knew that. And that's why they did it. But if you go into high limit, it's still 3-2. Because a guy that's going to be playing high limit and is a invited guest, he's looking, it's not to take anything. Most guys that are playing that kind of blackjack in those rooms, not saying they're advantage players, but they don't have money by accident. Like, it's funny, people look at, that rich person, say he's an idiot, he's an idiot. Is he really? Like, he didn't get there by being an idiot. So most of those guys are going to realize they're getting the worst of it. That, wait, this was 3-2. Or across the street, high limits 3-2. And they won't play it. But your average person that's drinking at the pool, walking through the casino, wants to bet $50, just wants to play blackjack in Vegas, they don't know the difference between getting 6-5 on a blackjack or 3-2. To them, they're like, wait, 6-5, 3-2. Is that the same thing? And little do they know, it's the difference between being able to beat the game and not beat the game. So that's the negative, and that's what they're doing now with sports betting, because there's so many. There was already 99% of bettors already lost, but now that 99% is a huge amount of people. So yeah, they could give 6-5 odds. They could make people lay the worst juice, the worst takebacks. Like, you don't even see 20-cent lines. You see 30-cent line, 40-cent lines, where it's -150 plus 110. You can't beat that book. Like, I wouldn't even look at, like, are you kidding me? I would use it as an out. I'd find a side here or there, but it's a terrible out. So next up, there's more of an edge. Okay, we did the Texas thing. Any UFC? I gave Fajeda. I like Fajeda for Saturday. Let me look real quick. There was a couple. Actually, give me 1 second. I'll tell you what I have real quick on this. Real quick, in the main event, I said it's Strickland or pass for me, only because with Abu, you're speculating. I mean, it's the bottom line. It's all speculation, and you're just not getting a good enough price to speculate. Meaning he may be like a phenom, but we don't know that, because even though he's got 30 professional fights, here's what I do know: he only has one in the UFC, and in that fight he closed about a -300 favorite, and it was against an opponent who I don't think had a single win. Pre-UFC, he was only in 4 fights with betting lines on it, 4-line fights that I found. His average closing line was -435. So the market estimated he should win over 80% of them. He didn't. He went 2-1-1. So he had a negative return on investment. And then, I'm sorry, his UFC opponent had a 1-3 record. Okay. And then I said, let me see, what did those opponents do pre-UFC that he had? Overall, they have a 63% win percentage. But here's what's more important. When you see the 1 or 2 names that you recognize, or look like they have a good record, always look, what did they do after fighting him? Because that'll tell you what trajectory they were in. And what I found was any named fighter that Abu faced was at the tail end of their career. They didn't go on to win many more fights. In fact, most ended their careers or went on to lose a few more. It wasn't where he got them at their peak. Where with Strickland, I know what I'm getting. It's a guy who's won 9 of his 12 fights as a favorite and 13 of 18 overall in the UFC against an opposition that's won almost 70% of their fights. In fact, his 5 losses come against a combined 70% win rate in UFC opponents. So I know what I'm getting. Again, if the X's and O's are against me and all that, and Albu really has that tool belt and skill set that is so advanced, he's offering the best of it, even at this price, then have at it. But I have a rule: if I'm speculating, then I need to feel that I'm really taking advantage. Like I'm getting so much the better of it. Because I'm going out on a flyer. I'm taking a flyer. I'm willing to gamble a little bit if I'm willing to speculate. And I just think he doesn't offer that. What else was sticking out to me? Oh, this Grant Dawson and Ismagulov. Here's what I was going to tell you. I'm probably going to bet Ismagulov. Here's why. And this actually changed of late because I was looking at the Grant Dawson sign until the reasoning started sticking in. Why was I looking at the Grant Dawson sign? Because I wanted to get Grant Dawson as a dog. Why? Because that's what I saw the price action do. That's what appeared to be the sharp move. And when I looked in and saw how it's a fighter who's never been a dog. Grant Dawson's been favored in all 8 of his UFC fights at a closing line of about minus 230. So he's expected to win 70% of those. The guy's won every single fight except for one no contest. So he's outperformed the betting market as a favorite. And now he's going to be an underdog. But hold on a second. When all of a sudden that happens and it appears like that clear and obvious, that's when Ace takes a step back and says, wait a minute. My intuition kicks in. Something's wrong. Something doesn't smell right. Something doesn't sit right. This is too good to be true almost. The red flags, the sirens go off. And the more I'm looking into the Ismagulov side, the more I'm realizing why I'm starting to like that side. So don't be surprised if you see an Ismagulov bet from me. Morales Griffin, I'll tell you what, I thought there was recency bias on Griffin because he's coming in off decision. But if you see prior, he was finishing some fights, and Morales is a finisher, even pre-UFC. So the under obviously has value. Also got esteemed, and I don't think Andrew would mind that I share. He's also in favor of that under and actually got down at plus money. So I like that play as well. Who else? Bonfim, I can't bet it, man. The line's just too high right now. Late replacement. I know him and his brother are phenoms, but the price is just way too high for me. You already know I'm on Bruno Ferreira. Kevin Lee, listen, man, bottom line is this. Strength of schedule says this line's too high. Obviously, Lee probably not going to win this fight, but I'll take a flyer at like a sprinkle. I would not lay the chalk with Renat. There's just not enough there. As far as, again, another 21 record with not all that much to know as far as strength of schedule goes. So for me, it looks like a dog or pass situation. Probably nothing we'll get involved in. Brito Wilson, just way too high against a debut opponent. Rosa, I like Rosa. Actually, the money came in against her. It's on Santos. I disagree a lot. I think Rosa's the right side here. She's coming in off a loss. I think she bounces back. The thing with Santos is we're seeing she's at that end of her career, got married, had the kid, have a family. God bless her. There's now that next stage that's coming up. And you see she's lost 2 straight fights. And I think it's that trajectory that's now in the downside. And late notice replacement fighters just don't do all that well. Again, I'm not digging in. We're not going over the analytics, just some quick leans on this one. Kutaladze and Brenner. Listen, Brenner's defied probability his last time around. He was a plus 460 he closed. He was supposed to win that fight 18% of the time. He said, go fuck yourselves. And pre-UFC had a pretty tough schedule. Those guys won 66% of their fights. He's got a 6-year edge here. And with Kutaladze, he's a 1-1 fighter in the UFC, and his wins come against an 0-0 opponent. That's all I know. Like, again, pre-UFC, its strength of schedule makes it difficult to really handicap these guys. Petrovic, Carolina. To me, it's Carolina or pass. I'm going to lay that shot. I know the debut fighter, Petrovic, so she's hot too, is supposed to win this fight. And Carolina just is one of those 500 fighters. But that's exactly when you want to take a dog. Like a 500 fighter plus money to me is not a bad proposition. The only problem is the plus money on her side hasn't been good enough to where she's plus EB, believe it or plus ROI, excuse me, as an underdog. Because even though she's 2-3 as a dog, having won 40% of her fights, her average closing line is 154. That's 39%. So she's outperformed it by 1%. In other words, the market's done a really good job of pricing Luana Carolina fights. But for me, it's a dog or pass situation, one we probably will not get involved in. And then Romanov Blagoy, I haven't dug into that fight yet, but one of the guys I respect and I really like sent me this last night, asked me this. I'll tell you real quick. Okay. Hey, did you or any of your guys touch the Romanov fight at -135? That's the side I really want to, I really like that side. I capped him at -200. What do you think? So I told him I'll look into that deeper, and I just, again, I'm going to take time. I'm going to answer the fucking guy and not just take a second. So I haven't done that fight yet. That's just quickly what we're looking at. Like I said, if you want, check out the podcast I'm going to do with Clint tomorrow, where we get to go deeper into some of the analytics and some of the X's and O's. That'll take more time. Real quickly, let me go through some more questions as we're coming in on the 90-minute mark. Welcome, Quadro. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family. That's how you do it. Again, not trying to upsell, but please now, here's what you have to do. It's on you to bet size correctly. I don't care if you're only working with a 5-dime fucking bankroll. Then you're betting 62.50 on a 5%. Please do that for me for the course of your subscription. You will profit. I will be here to be accountable and answer to you every single week like I'm doing. We will guide you through this. And your commitment of upping and taking a year to do this tells me that you're in this for the long run. So I will do everything, I swear to God, in my power to help you become profitable from today till your subscription's over. You're going to just take it slow, take your time. We're not going to do it overnight. You don't have to double your bankroll overnight. You don't have to triple it in a month and 3. Relax. You have a year. You have a year to soak up education, experience, knowledge, and guess what? You're going to be profitable at the end of it also. So you're going to get paid to learn if you bet size correctly. It's going to pay for your subscription. Your bankroll will increase so that next year you're betting a little more. And because you did that, your ROI will be higher because you're not paying as much for the information. So you did good. Now you have to follow through. Please, 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 man. Because it's not enough for me. I don't want that. Again, if I wanted to make money selling picks, I'd be selling picks. I'm not trying to sell anyone picks. I'm trying to sell, and it sounds crazy because you shouldn't be able to do it. But I'm trying to sell certainty. And the support I have is history. And I know history isn't a lock to repeat, but it sure as hell rhymes. And it's done so for me year after year after year after year. And again, I would do everything in my power, Quad, to make sure that was money well spent. You get your money back, you make money, and you learned a shitload over the 12 months. The only thing it's going to take from you is when we have that losing streak, when we have that cold streak, to understand that it's all part of the process. That is the time that most people get wrecked. That ruins most people who otherwise would have gotten to where they could be. It's that one tough, difficult stretch in the road that they just aren't emotionally or like mentally have the discipline or trust to overcome. If you can do that, the winning will be easy. Handle yourself when it's not going well and do the right thing when it's going well. And I promise you, dude, you will not regret being a part of this team, man. You're not going to regret it. Like I said, if I could help steer you in any direction, I've done well with stocks. I can show you my account. I told you I'm about a 0.5% ROI trader right now, trying to get to a 1% trader. And out of all my masterworks, that's paintings, I've made 29 trades. I lost, only one of them is in the negative. Every other painting that I've invested in is made me money. So those things I really have can help point you in the right direction. And of course, we're going to get our capital right here with sports betting. So yeah, I am. I know. I don't, honestly, the only reason, thank you, James, I cracked this open for this because I've been trading since early in the morning. Now I'll drink a coffee in the morning, and I've gotten healthier. I do have these in the freezer, the fridge outside, but I don't drink them every day. I used to drink one a day. Now it's like one a week, sometimes like 2 a month, 3 a month. I really have cut it down to when I really like feel I need it. But thank you for that. So it looks like we're good. Wait 2 more seconds if anyone has a question. If not, we had a good fucking 90 minutes. We are bounced back from last Saturday. You know where we're sitting right now? Let's turn a freaking profit between now and next week's show, chat, and just keep rolling, baby. Say your bankroll's 10,000 you had. Last question. My man Sin, if I have a bad 2 or 3 week, lost every bet, do you change your amount because your bankroll's not 10,000? We only reassess after 12 months or 50% wins or losses. If we've increased our bankroll by 50%, we're allowed to revisit if we want. Otherwise, ride it out till the end of the year like a business would and revisit, like a lot of businesses do, and revisit it at the end of the year. Some do it quarterly also. That's okay. But what I'm saying is you have to give your account time to do what it does. And if you keep adjusting it, you're actually like playing against yourself. But if you lose 50% of your 50% of your bankroll, that's when it's time to reassess. Obviously, if we went down 50% of our bankroll, that's what this chat room's about. It's not gonna happen overnight. It can't. I'm not sending out enough plays. And the bet percentages, remember, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, 1.25. To lose 50%, I have to lose 54% plays. 54% plays to lose 50% of our bankroll. We will talk a lot. It's not going to happen in 1-2 days, is what I'm saying. So believe me, we will revisit that if we have to. We don't have to. As of today, all steam ahead, baby. All steam ahead. Full steam ahead, right?
I'll do the cinnamon brioche roll.
Right now, that's all it is. So,
and then a large iced chai.
Best of luck. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your week. And hopefully we'll make some money. Like I said, don't worry about reassessing your bankroll. Worry about bet sizing correctly. When it gets up 50%, I'll be right here. Ask me that question. If it ever gets down 50%, I will have interjected a long time before that happens. That's why I'm here, to make sure that doesn't happen to us. That much you can be sure of. Love you guys. Thank you, Sin. It's a great month. It's only going to get better. And thank you guys for all your support. God bless you. Have a great 4th of July. Be safe, and take the time off with your families. This is going nowhere. Hit up WagerTalk. Ask them. Put my subscription on pause for 3 days, 5 days. I'm sure Johnny will hook you up. I'm probably creating more headaches than I need to. And he's going to be like, fuck, why did you open that door? But man, this is what we need to do. So every once in a while, you need to take a couple days off, a week off, reassess, get your mind right, shut it the fuck down. Or even if we, whether it's running good, running bad, sometimes you just need to take a break. Put your subscription on pause. This shit ain't going nowhere. I love you guys. Be well, be safe. God bless. We are out. back next week, right after the holiday.